service, it's any service that directly assists a learner with a disability in the selection or the acquisition of any assistive technology. So someone might need to learn how to use an iPad. So you have someone who provides a service who teaches them how to use an iPad. Okay, maybe they cannot use the iPad with their hands. Okay, so you have to figure out a technology and teach someone, or the person has to teach the person who needs to use it how to use it. That's the service that comes involved with it. Now, you might have heard of something called a switch, and it's something, a device that helps you to be able to use another device. And these devices are used a lot by people who don't have full function of their limbs, all of their limbs. Okay. Now, imagine, if you will, you being able to type without using your hands. That is something that is doable now. You can do that. You can type with your eyes right now. You can play music with your eyes right now. Okay. A person who does not have full function of their facilities there would need to know that that's available for them or to them, and know how to use it once they are aware of it. And maybe sometimes it is the case that they have to teach their teacher how to use it or how it is used. Let's see. There is something I wanted to kind of let roll with that. Okay, so there was supposed to be a little video there, but it's not playing. But we don't need it. Okay, so a learner's needs are met when we know exactly what it is that person needs. Sometimes it is the case that you have to be innovative because you don't know how to deliver what it is you need to deliver to that person because of whatever needs they come to the table having. According to ADA, you have to have some office somewhere with people who basically know how to acquire devices, whatever it might be for an individual who comes in. And a lot of times it is the case that you've never had anybody before who didn't have functions of both their arms and their legs. And then you got to figure out, well, how do I accommodate this person? Well, there's technology for that. A person might be able to blow through something, and so you'd have to learn how to manipulate that technology so that you can show them, if they don't already know how to do that, and if you are the teacher and the student already knows how to do that, how to interpret from them what it is that you hope to expect out of them. It's always a constant back and forth. Get ready for being how can I say that? Get ready for being challenged. It's not the student all the time who needs to be challenged, but we will be challenged by some of the things that we will encounter by people. Some of the difficulties. I try to stay away from the word disability. Okay, I just call it difficulty. That people have is not always visual. And you will certainly be sued if you walk up to a person and go, "What is wrong with you?" Which is what someone I know, in my school district did once, and they found out, well, Nothing is wrong with me, but now you don't have a job, so something's wrong with you at this point. You have to coordinate other services when you come upon something that is so far removed from you, it almost throws you into culture shock. So sometimes it is the case, it's not just one thing you have to deal with, but it's multiple things that you have to accommodate your learner for. And then the assistance, providing the assistance for the learner, that always has to be accessible to that person, to that individual. Can't, have an office, but no one staffed in that office, or otherwise unreachable. Imagine, if you will, and I bet everybody in here has experienced this, you are trying to call some company, and you can't reach them because you keep getting this message. If you would like to speak to so-and-so, dial this number. And then they ask you a question, and then you have to yell yes or no or number, in the phone. But imagine if someone, is already coming to the table with some difficulty, and then they have to go through those same kind of channels or changes or whatever. So categories that you might find in these technologies, these devices. Devices that will allow for you to take more control of your environment. Wheelchairs, for example. Eyeglasses, for example. You have to consider, too, that these devices are not just something that's coming in the classroom, but they're something that's every day. They're living arrangements and standards. Assistive listening. Now, what does that mean? Well, it could be a hearing aid. Okay? It could mean that a person needs things to be amplified a lot more than normal. Or it could mean that a person needs for you to face them as you're speaking, so that they can read your lips as you're speaking. It could mean a bunch of different things. Now, augmentative and alternative communication. We can talk about some apps for that. You don't always have to say something in order to get a meaning across to someone. And sometimes it is the case that people cannot read emotions or read into, let's say, the situation and understand what's going on around them. So they have to have a different way to communicate with you. Go back to a book I read. Nobody reads paper book anymore, but I still do. Look Me in the Eye. Anybody read that book? Pretty good book. Written by, what's his name, Robinson?
John Elder Robinson.
Yeah, Robinson.
He's actually from Western Massachusetts.
Really? Okay. Did you see the movie Running with Scissors? So you don't read and you don't go to the movies. Well, Look Me in the Eye is about this man who talks about growing up autistic. He's very, very, very bright, but he had this problem with communicating with people, and because his responses were seen as inappropriate. He might laugh at the wrong time, or he might just not look at you in the eye, or maybe you would stare too long, but not hardly at you. But coming into knowing that after so many years of not knowing that, and then figuring out, oh, that's why people are kind of standoffish towards me, it kind of left him alienated in a lot of different ways. Okay, so we have to figure out how to do that. And there are technologies, especially apps, that are really good that will teach people, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and to train themselves to behave in the expected kind of way. Computer-based instructions, well, it's kind of almost self-explanatory there. We're doing that every day, all day. And mobility, okay, here we go. It's almost no one now who does not have a cell phone, even if it's a dumb phone. Not everybody has a smartphone, a tablet, Kindle Fire, and so on and so forth. Mobility is where it kind of lets the playing field for people to learn catch up. Okay, where you might not be able to see, you can get an app that will read things out for you, or you can have your laptop or your desktop read the web page for you. If you're a vendor and you need to know the currency that someone handed to you, you can have a phone or an iPad. It's just kind of on a stand that's like this, hovering above it, and ask them to hold the money underneath it, and it'll read out to them what the denomination is. So I don't know about here, but in the southern parts of the states, they let the blind, run little stands so that they can have, a source of income too. So, it's like, how does, he know what change to give back, or what is he getting if somebody's cheating him or whatever? Now we have technology out there, not just somebody yelling, hey, you can't do that, that sort of stuff. So, we have to consider that sort of stuff. And technologies will do that for us. How many of you out there wearing wearable technology right now? What's your wearable technology? I see more women with those. Yeah. What else? Men didn't really raise a hand, but I bet you got a watch on. No watch. Yeah. Right now, there is technology out there that will, help you keep your health, in check. It will report to your doctor if you're, having difficulties, especially if those who are prone to seizures. And in at least one of my classes, I had a student who was prone to seizures. So, we all had to know what to do whenever something happened. But what was more interesting is that she could wear some little device that will report that information to her doctor. So her doctor would know when it was and to what degree the seizure, was that hit her or happened to her. You even have technology now, contact lens now, that can check your blood glucose level. So if you're diabetic, you don't have to stick yourself anymore, thanks to, I think, Google. We went through that already. The goal for any AT is to have people to fully integrate into general education classrooms, and so that the learners can learn the material in the way that they can understand it. Just because we put it out there doesn't necessarily mean everybody's going to be able to grasp it. I really wish my video would work. I don't know why. It works at home. My technology needs assistance. We have people who have barriers that prevent them from being able to partake in just about everything. If you're having students in your classroom who are not seeming to get it, in other words, they're always kind of like looking out of the window or doing something on their cell phones, it's not necessarily the case that they can always control that sort of thing. Sometimes it is the case that they are undiagnosed, and so we don't know if they can control some of those behaviors or not. It would be good to know if, so you won't, drive up your own blood pressure by that sort of thing. Said that to say that assistive technologies that will pull them back into focus is very much what engaging the classroom is all about right now. It's almost a buzzword, a catchphrase, engage the class, to go about collaborative learning. Well, we're embracing technology in order to do that, technologies in order to do that. And we're doing it in terms of these things, these tablets, whatever device that they're bringing into the classroom, gaming, another term, gamification. Those are the things, those are really interesting ways to teach somebody curriculum that you probably would not have thought to use those technologies. So you have many benefactors, and it's not just those who have learning disabilities or physical disabilities or difficulties, but you'll find that they are also all of us. I want to talk to you about this young man named Joel. Joel, he was a student at Walters State Community College in Morristown, Tennessee. That's near Knoxville. I'll give you a kind of place to put him. Well, he was in a motorcycle accident, and it led to damage to his C4 and C5 region of his neck, and so he was basically paralyzed as a result of this accident. Some drunk driver ran into him. So even just lucky to be alive, he still, went off to college, went to this this 2-year college. Walters State Community College is one of the best community colleges in the state of Tennessee because it embraces technology, to the point where this young man, he used to come to class every day with a person with him, to assist him. Well, one day, the Associate Vice Chancellor of Tennessee Board of Regents happened in, and she basically is the person who started this initiative for mobilizing the entire state. She happened to see him, and she said, I wonder if he could use an iPad. And she gave him an iPad, and the school figured out a way to rig it to his wheelchair. So it took a couple of times because some things didn't quite, match up. But they gave him that iPad. They worked with him and with it until he was able to work with it on his own. By the time he graduated, he did not need any more assistance from another human being. He didn't need his assistant anymore. He graduated there and then went on to East Tennessee State University to major in psychology. And he's doing well right now. And guess what? He made it past doors that people who had all of their facilities, faculties, didn't, make it. He was very successful. He still is. A very nice success story for him. He also is now, basically, more independent than he's ever been since that accident. So, he has difficulty, in areas, but he can excel. He's not hindered by his physical difficulty. Now, there are some principles that guide quality inclusive education. And, we all would love to believe that we are always inclusive of everybody who comes in our doorway. But sometimes we get hung up in, well, if this person is not doing what I want them to do when I want them to do it, then, leave them behind. I'm tired of them and they get on my nerve or whatever. But everybody belongs. There's some place for everybody. Even that person that you think is a troublemaker and getting in the way is probably because of something going on. Understand this, that when it comes to especially learning difficulties, they don't just come in ones. It's usually multiple things that's taking place. So they might have dyslexia, and they might have another issue where they cannot write well. Their hands don't necessarily, the dexterity in the hands are not necessarily all that great. You all have doctors, you know what I'm talking about. You can't read a word they write. They might have also a disability when it comes to math. So it's not just one thing. Sometimes it's more than one thing, and it's hard to determine if it's just one thing or how many things it is. So people learn in different ways. And it is the case that every technology that we have, be it TV or a tablet, it's useful. We have to figure out how to use it. And it's every child's right to be included. Now, there are some myths about inclusiveness that, we ought to keep people separate, because if we do, then this won't slow down this group, or this won't speed up this group too fast so that they can't catch up and keep up and that sort of thing. Not everybody has to be quote unquote ready in order to be included. Sometimes it is the case that they can adjust with their peers. So, and most people are supportive of their family members. Okay, now I don't know why the other stuff didn't work, but that one works. Okay. All right, with this, we're looking at some products that we can use in terms of technologies. We talked about the sip and puff, that sort of thing, where people cannot use their hands or whatever, but they can blow through things. Also, you can consider Braille. Braille is all, even in, you have apps that let you, kind of manipulate things on your iPad or whatever. It kind of feels the Braille on that. You have reading tools that are apps. You have some that are auditory. Some learners learn through that way. I don't know about you, but sometimes it is the case that people can learn quicker or retain things longer if they hear it rather than if they read it. And then the same is true in reverse. We have to figure out how it is that a person can learn. And the best way to find out is to ask them or to get it from them, not just sit there and try and guess, because chances are we probably won't guess it right. So when we can understand, or when we do understand, it's important for us to pick the right product. Okay? Will a cell phone do it? Will a tablet do it? Will a book on tape do it? Will a wheelchair do it? People have been coming up with a lot of different innovative ways to make things happen and to keep them happening for them. I think one of the most interesting things I've seen is an individual who had very limited mobility in his legs, but he had enough strength in him that he could pedal. So everywhere he went, he would pedal there. And he even had this long cart stand thing that, drag behind him, and he could sell stuff to people, and he communicated to them from there. And, we complain about traffic, and other people, they just get it the best way they can, when they can, that sort of thing. So technologies that are out there for us to acquire. And I really wanted this to work so that I can show you who Dr. Milton is. Dr. Milton is the Associate Vice Chancellor of Emerging Technologies, and what she does for the state of Tennessee and surrounding areas is she's developed this app center. It's got 70,000 apps in it. 70,000, and some of those I helped to find and put into that app center for every discipline, for every type of learner. It's not just for the student, it's for the workforce too. So it's broken down into grade levels and into workforce development. Right now, and I can't get that to go, but right now, the App Center has so many apps in it that it broke something. So the webmaster is doing something to fix it so we can bring it back up. But I think we broke that thing. We've got Android apps in there. We've got Windows apps in there. We've got, of course, iOS apps in there. We've got every kind of app you can think of. It's in there. We partner with Merlot, and Merlot has a website that has peer-reviewed materials. So you'll know that it's appropriate for your students also to go to whatever age they happen to be. And they let you know about different products. They invite any and everybody, especially educators, to come to the site and to help peer review and to input some of their either if you're publishing your works or your input into helping to keep the site up and going and helping people, not just for educators, but for students as well. And both sites, Tennessee Board of Regents sites and Merlot, they basically kind of help one another. So, and when it comes to assistive technology in one, the other one refers, the people to it too. So it's, I want to leave you basically with this, that if you're looking for assistive technologies, they're out there. You can Google them, or you can go to this site and find out what it is that you're looking for. Even if you don't know what to call it, somebody else already does. Okay, I forget what number that is, but the ADA is the ADA is one website too that will help you as well. So if you're interested in any of those, the ADA, the Tennessee Board of Regents, Merlot, and of course the site for the national site for disabilities, you can find out any of that. Okay, I kind of went a little bit fast because I knew it was kind of like, it's late and folks are hungry, and you might have a hunger disability. Yes, ma'am.
One of the problems that we struggle
That's a good question. Networking has to come around in terms of making the cables identifiable by people who cannot see. And I don't think that they've done that so much. Either make some wires or cables thicker or rougher or whatever they need to do. But I do know this, and I'm kind of limited in that, but you have to know which wires can cross over this way or that way, or else you don't get the throughput you're looking for. But now, if you can tell by feel what that this is a red wire, and this is a green wire, and this is a yellow wire, then you might by touch determine where things are supposed to go. If and when there are devices that can tell you where you are, that might be helpful, but I don't think that's there yet. If you're in like an IT closet, for example, you need to know what you're plugging into. If you're now, I can see on the other hand, if you're programming, like the server or something like that, if you know where the keys are, you're okay. But if you're actually, doing the grunt work of crawling through, spaces and stuff like that and running cable, I don't think that there's yet something that's on the table for that. But other things in IT, yes, there is some. Oh.
Put things together as visual icons, and those seem to be very problematic.
Well, now there is software now that might be able to do that by what you tell it to do. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of that software. I can't remember the name of the software, but. You can tell the machine to do it, and the machine will do it. I don't know the name of that software. I can't remember it. Yes?
There's one thing that we're playing around with on our campus with Google Glass.
Yes.
And we have an instructor who has a sight-impaired person in his class. So I haven't heard how it's working, but he was using Google Glass as a board. And when he would write, he would transmit that signal to an iPad in front of the student, and where the student could enlarge it big enough so that they could read it. So there's some interesting things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
I'm just wondering, how many sectors are going to be in the state of requirement in college and university has to have an AT person on there? Because in Texas, you don't. We hire them.
We do.
We had to,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to see if the state has that requirement.
I'm not sure if it's required in Wisconsin. We all have centers for students with disabilities.
Well, we do too. I think everybody does, but I just, particular, like I have an AT for me, classroom technology needed, because we have a budget so much else here.
Well, now, I think, according to ADA mandates, there is supposed to be somebody there who is, whose job it is to make sure that accommodations are made, or else you could be sued. It's kind of like, if someone is coming to a job interview, for example, and then they bring an interpreter, and then that potential employee sees that interpreter and decides, oh, I'm going to have to pay for that. They may not get that job, But if the person comes with a way to show that I might not need this interpreter, but I just have them now for right now, whatever. they might get a chance. But I believe, once that person is there in that facility or whatever, there must be some way that accommodations are made for that individual. Now, I don't know about for every job, but I do believe that that's true for state-supported schools, public schools. If you get money from the government, you gotta.
Unfortunately, about the time I'm retiring, we have fire in the building, and we're redoing the building, so I'll make sure her office is totally, in a wheelchair and blind, her office is blind.
Uh-huh.
So we had all this stuff fixed. The computer services people are like that. They're over at her office all the time. She has 3 computers, and we're always trying to get them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I say thank you. Come over. They don't work, really.
Really? Well, they got to get over that. Yeah, their wallet will have, be disabled. Yeah, they'll have a problem. Thank you all. I appreciate you staying this late and listening to me.